Hello, all you special snowflakes out there in cyberspace. This channel is DaddyMonsterRants. I'm the Daddy Monster. I make meatloaf out of sacred cows. You know, the internet is a wonderful thing. I mean, aside from all the porn, I mean. I was watching a video on YouTube of Black Lives Matter protesters at a Trump rally. I thought it was kind of interesting that out of the dozen or so Black Lives Matter protesters, only like 3 of them were actually black. Thought that a little strange. And as near as I can tell, there's 3 kinds of Black Lives Matter protesters. There's the useful idiots who are taking the $15 an hour that George Soros is paying them and just, yelling, whatever. Then there's the entrepreneurs or freelance socialists who figure, hey, is there going to be a crowd here? I could probably pick some pockets, maybe sell some drugs, maybe rob some stuff. And then, of course, there's the race pimps, Al Sharpton and Al Sharpton wannabes. As long as there's $1 to be made by keeping black folks and white folks hating each other, they'll be right fucking there. But there's only one kind of white Black Lives Matter protester. That's the trendy dipshit. With their jet black dyed hair and their hipster glasses and their Volvo or BMW full of empty Starbucks cups. Apparently, Black Lives Matter, but not in Chicago or Africa. According to the Chicago Police Department, as of a couple days ago, 133 people had been murdered in Chicago this year. That's up 90-something% over last year. The vast majority of these people murdered were black people. According to the United Nations, 500 black children in sub-Saharan Africa die every day from diarrhea-related diseases, mostly due to a lack of clean water. You know, that stuff you use for washing your car? 500 dead children every day. You see, there's a disease called dysentery. It's either caused by a bacteria or an amoeba. If it's caused by a bacteria, they call it shigellosis or some such shit. Used to kill a lot of people in America, too, back in the 1800s. Basically, it's bloody diarrhea. Ever had diarrhea? It's not much fun. Imagine having diarrhea that goes on for days and days and days. So that at the end, you're so weak that even if somebody gives you a glass of water, you're too weak to even lift it. You literally shit yourself to death. Doesn't sound like a hell of a lot of fun to me. Personally, I think I'd rather get shot. Another thing I saw on the internet, it's a little thing about on Facebook about a guy named William Kakwamba. He's from a country in Africa called Malawi. It's a little tiny country. It's got like Tanzania on one side and Zaire over here and Mozambique all over the bottom. Well, about the year 2000, when he was 12, 13, 14, something like that, His family had a choice. They could either keep sending him to school or they could buy food. They decided to go with food. But William decided that he wasn't done learning stuff. So he went to his local library, which in the village where he's from in Malawi is like 3 rusty shelves with like 20 or 30 books on them. He saw a picture of a windmill. And he said to himself, somebody built that machine by hand. A person. I'm a person. I bet I can do that. So he did. First, he built a windmill that worked a generator and gave his family electricity. Then he built another windmill and used that to pump water from underneath the ground where there hopefully isn't any sewage or amoebas in it. According to the United Nations, 800 million people don't have access to clean water. I was watching that video about the Black Lives Matter protesters and noticed all these pasty-faced white kids with their $30 Black Lives Matter t-shirts and their cars full of empty Starbucks cups. And I got to thinking, you know, if these little shits actually cared about black lives, they wouldn't go to a Trump rally and scream insults at people. They might think about taking a month's worth of Starbucks money and donating it to the charity that builds windmills in Malawi. Links below. And you know, while we're talking about water and Africa, there's another thing you social justice warriors should probably think about. Muammar Gaddafi, the evil dictator Muammar Gaddafi, was working on something before we killed him. Or rather, Hillary Clinton killed him. We came, we saw, he died. Funny, huh? Muammar Gaddafi was working on a thing called the Great Man-Made River Project. He was bringing up water from deep aquifers underneath the Sahara Desert. You know, in a desert, water is kind of important. One of the first things that the NATO coalition fighting terrorism did was bomb the hell out of the Great Man-Made River Project with depleted uranium weapons, so that even if they rebuild it, there'll still be a little radioactive gift that keeps on giving in every drop of water that comes through it. Instead of hopping into your car and spending lots of gasoline to go to the next Trump rally to scream insults at people who don't see the world quite the way you do because they might actually have to work for a fucking living, how about you take some of that energy and some of that money and donate it to the Malawi Windmill Project? Links below. How about you take some of that vitriol you're yelling at other people and direct it where it belongs, at the United States federal government. The #1 export of this country is weapons and death. That's expensive. And while you're wondering how you're ever going to be able to pay off your student loans for your gender studies degree, there are people dying right this fucking minute. Somewhere in Africa, right now, some 8-year-old kid is shitting himself to death. And you know why you don't do anything? Because donating to a charity isn't something you can show your friends. That's not something you can wear on your sleeve or blazoned across your chest to show the world that you care about stuff and you're deep. You're not deep. You're not a warrior. You're not an activist. You're a poser. And a gutless one at that. You want to change the world? Go where it's the worst, not where it's the best. As always, this video is completely unscripted aside from a couple of points I wanted to make. If you liked the video, hit the thumbs up button, leave a comment, subscribe. If you don't like the video, well, maybe I forgot something. Maybe there's an important point you think I missed. Maybe you have a rational debate. I kind of doubt it, but I want to hear about it. Human, evolve or die. And hurry the fuck up either way, will ya? We're running out of time here.